It doesn't matter what they try. It doesn't matter how hard the competition is. Somehow, they come out on top. In sports, in business, in trading, at the poker table, in life. And you've probably wondered, is it talent? Is it luck? Or is there something happening inside their brain that you don't have? The answer is going to change how you see every competition you've ever been in. Because winning is not what you think it is. It's not a skill. It's not a mindset. It's a biological feedback loop. And once it starts, it is almost impossible to stop. Here's what the science actually shows. In 1999, researchers at Georgia State University published a study that would quietly become one of the most important findings in competitive psychology. They measured testosterone levels in athletes before and after competition. What they found was this: winners experienced a significant spike in testosterone after victory, and losers experienced a drop. That sounds obvious. But here's where it gets strange. That testosterone spike didn't just make winners feel good, it made them more aggressive in their next competition, more focused, more willing to take risks, more likely to win again. Scientists now call this the winner effect, and it works exactly like a drug. Every time you win, your brain releases a surge of testosterone and dopamine. That surge makes you sharper, bolder, and more dominant going into the next contest, which makes it more likely you'll win that one too, which triggers another surge, which makes the next win more likely. The loop feeds itself. Ian Robertson, a neuroscientist at Trinity College Dublin, studied this effect for over a decade. He concluded that winning literally rewires the brain. The neural circuits associated with confidence, aggression, and risk-taking physically strengthen every time you come out on top. The brain of a consistent winner looks different under a scanner than the brain of someone who keeps losing. You are not born a winner. You become one win at a time. But here's the part nobody talks about. The same loop works in reverse. Every loss triggers a drop in testosterone and a rise in cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol shrinks your risk tolerance. It makes you more cautious, more hesitant, more likely to fold under pressure, which makes the next loss more likely, which raises cortisol again. Researchers at Cambridge University published a study in 2015 in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences looking at financial traders in London. They found that on days when a trader's morning testosterone was above their personal daily average, they made significantly higher profits. But when cortisol was elevated, after a losing streak, traders became so risk-averse that they started making decisions that guaranteed losses. The market didn't break them. Their own brain chemistry did. This is why the rich get richer. This is why champions keep winning championships. This is why the same names appear on the podium year after year. It is not purely talent. It is a biological momentum that compounds over time. So the real question is not, why do winners keep winning? The real question is, how do you start the loop? Because here's what the research shows. You don't need a massive win to trigger it. A 2012 study published in the journal Hormones and Behavior, led by researchers studying badminton players across multiple countries, found that even small, low-stakes victories produced measurable testosterone spikes. Winning a practice match, winning a bet with a friend, winning an argument. Your brain does not distinguish between a World Cup final and a coin flip. A win is a win. The chemical response is real either way. This is why sports psychologists who work with elite athletes spend enormous amounts of time engineering small wins. Before a big game, the training sessions are designed to make players feel dominant. They run drills they know they'll complete successfully. They rehearse moves they've already mastered. They stack micro-victories in the hours before competition. They are not warming up the muscles. They are priming the chemistry. And it works. Across sports, across trading floors, across every competitive domain humans have ever invented. Now, here is where it gets psychologically dark, because the winner effect has a shadow side. Robertson's research also found that when the loop runs unchecked, when testosterone keeps rising and the dopamine hits keep coming, winners start making catastrophic errors in judgment. They become overconfident. They start underestimating opponents. They take risks that no rational person would take. They believe the loop will never end. You've seen this happen. The trader who made a 100% return in a single year and then lost everything in 6 months. The football team that dominated a league and then collapsed in a final because they couldn't believe they were actually losing. The gambler who kept pushing because he'd won 10 times in a row and the 11th time felt guaranteed. The winner effect doesn't just lift you, it blinds you. Robertson calls this the transition from optimal confidence to toxic confidence, and it is one of the most consistent findings in competitive neuroscience. The very chemistry that makes you great is the same chemistry that will eventually destroy you, if you don't know it's running. The people who win consistently over decades, not just one hot streak, are the ones who learn to manage that loop, who stay hungry after wins, who treat every new competition as if their hormones are at zero, who never let the chemical high convince them they've already won before the contest starts. Michael Jordan talked about this. He said he was most dangerous not when he felt invincible, but when he felt like he had something to prove. He was manufacturing cortisol on purpose, using the loser's brain chemistry as fuel instead of letting it paralyze him. That is not an accident. That is a neurological strategy. And it brings us to the third finding, the one that changes the game entirely. In the 1970s, a psychologist at Stanford University named Carol Dweck began studying why some children recovered from failure and others collapsed. She ran hundreds of experiments over 4 decades, and what she found was this. It was not intelligence that predicted long-term success. It was not talent, not socioeconomic background, not even work ethic in isolation. It was the story the person told themselves about why they lost. Children who believed their abilities were fixed, who thought losing meant they weren't good enough, showed measurable drops in persistence, problem-solving ability, and willingness to try again. Their cortisol response to failure was chronic. It didn't fade. It accumulated. Children who believed their abilities could grow, who thought losing meant they hadn't figured it out yet, bounced back faster, tried harder on the next attempt, and over time outperformed the fixed mindset group by a significant margin. Dweck called this the growth mindset. And while later researchers have debated how much a growth mindset intervention alone can move the needle in schools, the underlying neurological finding is solid. The story you tell yourself about a loss changes your hormonal response to it. If you believe the loss reveals who you are, cortisol stays elevated. The downward loop accelerates. If you believe the loss reveals what you still need to learn, cortisol drops faster. The recovery is faster. The next attempt starts closer to baseline. Winners are not people who don't lose. They are people whose brains recover from losing faster than everyone else's. That is the real competitive advantage, not the wins, the recovery speed. And now you understand something that almost nobody around you understands. The person in your life who always seems to win is not blessed. They are not luckier than you. They started the loop earlier. They learned, consciously or not, to protect the loop when it was fragile and manage it when it became dangerous. And they developed a relationship with losing that doesn't let cortisol accumulate. You can start the loop right now, today, with something small, something you know you can win, a workout you complete, a task you finish, a conversation you handle well. Your brain doesn't know the difference between that and a championship. Win something, then win something else. Because the loop doesn't care how it starts. It only cares that it starts. And once it does, once that first testosterone spike hits and your brain feels what winning feels like, something shifts. You start to understand why some people always come out on top. Because they never really stopped.